Welcome, friends of the Greasy Shop Rag. Today we're going to take a look at a Stihl MS170 chainsaw. Customer complaint is that it's low on power. So there's a couple of ways that this repair could be done. The first, obviously, is to try and start the saw and see why, or guess why, it might be low on power. Now, having done this for quite a while now, I already know what different symptoms, how they relate to different problems. So the act of starting up the saw and seeing what it feels like and then going to look for that one specific problem, I don't do that anymore. But I do recommend that young techs starting out do that. Start the saw, feel what the customer's feeling, and then dig into it, and when you find the problem, you can associate that feeling with that problem. Alright, so the other thing is, I'm going to look at everything, all the main components on here anyway. I might run into one thing and, maybe find some sour gas. Well, there's your problem. That's why it was low on power. Well, that really wasn't your problem. Maybe it was something else. That's just one contributing factor. So, I've been doing it like this for a while now, and it's been working for me. One thing I always like to do is look in the cylinder. If it's clean and shiny and no scoring in there, I pretty much know that this saw is getting repaired and going back to the customer. If it's scored, especially on a low-cost saw like this, I might as well just stop because I'm just wasting time. So now that we've determined that there's clean fuel, fuel line pressure tested good, the cylinder looks good, and we have spark, we need to investigate why we have low power. Could it be this air filter? Certainly this is not the cleanest air filter, but I doubt that it's the entire contributing factor of a person bringing a saw in for repair for low power. And that's the other thing. You got a customer describing a problem. You have someone at the counter interpreting that description of the problem. And then you have the tech who's got to figure out what the actual problem is. That's why I like to look at everything. So in this case, we are at the spark arrestor screen. Let's take a look at it and see what we got. Yeah, that is completely blocked. I don't know how it gets to this point, but it would definitely probably not even want to start like that. We'll look again into the cylinder, just confirm that there's no scoring, and then we'll move forward with the repair. Now there's a lot of soot built up on this muffler. I'm just going to clean it off here a little bit. If that muffler gets hot and that stuff starts burning off and smoking a little bit, you know what's going to happen. Customer's going to bring it back and say, I just had it in here for repair, I paid X amount of dollars, and now the thing's smoking. You can't win sometimes. So I'm going to do my best just to get the bulk of the residue off of the muffler. Just so that the end user experience isn't something they didn't expect. And with shop rates the way they are these days, you kind of gotta, I don't know what the word I'm looking for is, but make sure that the customer is getting a good value for what you're doing for them. There's a lot of places out there that are doing this kind of work, and you want a good reputation. So think about that when you're doing these repairs, you know, just gouging one guy and then earning a bad reputation didn't really earn you any money, did it? Anyway, to clean the spark arrestor screen, we got a couple of choices. We can replace it, or we can burn it out like this. You can use chemical methods as well. I like doing it this way. It's pretty simple. Now if you look, I just burnt one end there, and we're going to take an air compressor and clean that up a little bit. But look at the difference here. I mean, that's how blocked up we were. If the air can't come out of the engine, it can't flow through the engine. So air's not really going through the carburetor if it's not going out the exhaust. Looks like we need a refill on our butane torch. Yeah, now that's a fire, huh? Be mindful of where the sparks might be blowing around. I mean, I do have a can of fuel on the bench behind me there. And you got this chainsaw right in front of you. You know, if it was leaking, could be a problem. So all them little sparks and blowing out of there, imagine if that was, you know, dry forest. I mean, it, you know, if you're trying to, in survival mode, it might be hard to start a fire. But if you're just dinking around out in the woods with a saw, it's probably a lot easier to start a fire because you're not trying. And stuff happens, right? So I don't recommend just pulling the screen out. And except for when the screen is blocked, I don't think there's any performance gains to be had. If you use the saw every day, you know, look at the screen every once in a while. It's no big deal. Clean it out. Keep a spare with you, maybe. Alright, let's put this thing back together. Now, if I had a new gasket for this Stihl, I'd put it on there, but I am pretty sure with the screen opened up like this, we're not going to get the back pressure pushing on that gasket and, you know, this escaping gases kind of problem around the muffler. Pretty simple job here. The two 8mm nuts. So let's get this top cover on here and see if this thing runs. So that's all I got for you on the Stihl MS170 spark arrestor screen cleaning. Thanks for watching. Later.